You're listening to Chapter 7 of The Day Evacuation Order Went Up, Aiko 6 days before camp. This episode is part of Stories from Camp, a continuing series of Japanese-American narratives told as quiet nighttime historical dramas. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and listen to the next chapter or the whole story on our YouTube channel or your podcast player. If you'd like to hear more, you can explore the rest of the library on our channel. Chapter 7: Shifting Borders of Home. By the third morning, Aiko stepped outside to catch her breath, but even the street felt smaller than it had 2 days earlier. The spring air held a faint sweetness from the persimmon trees, yet beneath it she sensed a tension that pinched at the edges of every familiar sound. Cars idled with less patience. Conversations cut short as she approached. The borders of her neighborhood, once defined by warmth and routine, shifted with every step she took. She walked toward the shop to check on her father, her shoes tapping gently against the uneven pavement. Usually First Street carried the hum of vendors setting up displays, radios drifting from windows, laughter passing between doorways. Today the sounds felt muffled, as if a thin layer of dust had settled over everything. Aiko saw neighbors she had known since childhood, but their faces looked different. Some offered small nods, tight smiles that never reached their eyes. Others lowered their gaze, as though meeting hers might burden them with a truth they didn't want to hold. Outside the grocer's, Mrs. Nishida stood with her hands clasped around a woven basket. She had been warm and lively before, quick to call Aiko dear girl and slip her rice crackers wrapped in wax paper. Today she greeted Aiko with a subdued bow, her voice thin. "Your mother must be working hard," she said quietly. Aiko nodded. "We all are." The older woman held her gaze for a moment before looking away, her movements cautious, her expression clouded with the kind of fear people tried to swallow but couldn't hide. A pair of white customers crossed the street as Aiko approached the shop, moving as though drawn by some instinct to create distance. Their avoidance felt subtle yet unmistakable. She watched the couple glance back once, then turn sharply down another block. Aiko didn't know whether she felt anger or resignation. Both emotions rested inside her like two sides of the same coin. She entered the shop. Her father gave her a tired smile and said the business had slowed even further. The crates of produce stood fuller than they should at this hour, the oranges still bright, the greens still crisp. The emptiness unsettled her. Her father tried to remain proud, keeping the displays tidy, but the silence between customers told its own story. Aiko helped him rearrange items, though both knew it wouldn't change anything. The neighborhood was contracting around them, drawing invisible lines of caution. After a while she stepped back outside, letting the door close behind her. She walked past the small shrine on the corner where people once gathered for festivals. The paint on the gate still shone red in the sunlight, but the space held no children playing today. Instead, the shrine looked like a memory, something beloved yet set apart, no longer woven into the everyday rhythm of the street. Farther down the block, Aiko spotted her best friend Yuki standing beneath the awning of her family's store. Yuki's hands rested on the wooden railing, knuckles pale. When she saw Aiko, she smiled, though the expression looked thin. They stood together in the shade, letting the silence stretch between them. Words felt too fragile to rely on. After a long moment, Yuki said, "Everything feels different." Aiko nodded. Yes. Yuki looked out toward the street. I keep thinking someone will say this is a mistake. That we're reading it wrong. That someone will come fix it. The wish sounded childish, but Aiko heard the truth beneath it. They both wanted the world to stay the size it had been before the notice appeared. Neither knew how to return to that version of life. Aiko walked home as the afternoon light softened. She noticed small details she had never paid attention to before: the uneven brickwork beneath her feet, the way clothes swayed on laundry lines between buildings, the crack in the curb shaped like a small river. Each detail felt like a goodbye she hadn't prepared for. She understood the neighborhood had begun separating itself from her, not because of anything she had done, but because fear had redrawn its boundaries. When she reached her apartment steps, she paused and looked back at First Street. She saw the place where she grew up, the place she thought would always feel like hers. But the borders had shifted, folding in on themselves, leaving her on the outside even while she still walked its paths. The home she knew stood behind her. The world ahead waited with no promises. Aiko stepped inside, closing the door gently behind her. Thank you for listening to Chapter 7 of the day. The evacuation notice went up. This episode is part of Stories from Camp, a continuing series of Japanese-American narratives told as quiet, nighttime historical dramas. If you like this narrative storytelling, please like, subscribe and listen to the next chapter or the whole story on our YouTube channel, or your podcast player if you'd like to hear more. You can explore the rest of the library on our channel. And if you're a storyteller or creator who wants to collaborate with us, you can reach out anytime at redressradio.com.